The window in the cover of the book introduces the inside-outside binary of its contents. It frames the leaf metaphor, which replaces the text, and invites the reader to look inside. The poem summarises the main elements of the project, while the blurb that follows it tells us that it is about some remarkable letters describing how unremarkable prison life can be. The artist's statement precedes the start of the presentation, which, like the seasons symbolised in the leaves, has a rhythm of its own. A diptych made up of plant material on the left signifying the outside and an aspect of prison life on the right signifying the inside is followed by a letter from me to Ian in prison, and then a reply from Ian. The reply is sewn in the heart of the prison image, and the reader has to become involved physically in the work to see what it says. The space between plant and prison echoes the prison wall, which simultaneously separates and unites. Another diptych concludes the rhythmical phrase. The plant material is taken either from outside Dartmoor jail or from a handkerchief tree, a symbol of surrender, in Ian's hometown 30 miles away. You could ask, why did I make this book? And why did I make this book? Why didn't I just have one made? To answer the first question, I need to go back to the outcome of my body of work assessment report, which stated that the three elements of the plant material, the prison images, and Ian's letters did not gel. All the elements were contained in a blurb book, which was also criticised by reviewers at the Format Photo Festival as being, in their opinion, too corporate, too glossy for the subject. In rectifying the questions of cohesion and presentation, I decided to make my own book, thus also extending my skills, and I set out my own parameters for the publication. There was to be a window in the front cover to invite the viewer to look inside. It had to have a cloth cover and archival matte paper. There was to be a symbolic presentation of the title rather than a text. The symbols were the prints in the shape of a field maple tree leaf. 2 field maple trees stand sentinel outside the gates of Dartmoor Prison, and it was from these that I took some of the botanicals to make the dyes for the seasonal prints. The symbolic leaf prints were also found on the 4 drapes hanging in the exhibition that visitors could walk through, as if they were walking through time in that space. The book had to open flat. The integrity of the diptychs could not be compromised by having the spine splitting them. I wanted to sew some of Ian's letters as inserts. To portray the idea of call and response, I wanted to include my letters as well as Ian's. Therefore, by using the plant material and the images of prison life diptychs, sandwiching my letters to Ian and his replies, the 3 elements of plants, prison and letters would coalesce and produce one cohesive and coherent body of work. I did not want to sell the book, but just make 2 copies, one for Ian and one for me. Had I put this to a commercial printer, the cost would have been prohibitive. The rhythm is interrupted in the last 2 solitary images, one of which contains Ian's last letter, sewn into the landscape which met him as he left prison. It is quite bleak, and ironically resembles the inside prison architecture of grids separating spaces. Here, signifying the resistance that Ian met from a society that will not let him forget that he has been to prison. The last image is of a false dandelion, a cat's ear, transcending the prison walls. In the last page, I acknowledge not only the large number of people who are involved in realising the project, but also the vast array of skills and goodwill involved in bringing it to a conclusion.